Tonight, I come here with a heavy heart, as my brother Cecil Young just stated that the Newtown situation is on my mind, on this whole nation, and throughout the world is looking at the United States of America. And we're spreading democracy and safety and trying to, bring a democratic system to the rest of the world and look at what's happening here. So my prayers goes out to entire families of all the family members out there in Newtown that lost loved ones out there. And anytime something like this happens, let's take lemon and make lemonade. And I hate to say this during this crisis, but it's time for us to take this and make something better out of it and say that these laws cannot be just laws. And we have to do something about this so it never ever happen again to anybody else or any other family in the United States of America. And I blame this. They said if you're going to blame someone, you have to go to the blame, to the head of the problem. The head of the problem is our Democratic in Washington and Republican parties in Washington that stands on the sideline and watch these things happen and play games as though I'm Republican over here and the Democrats over here, and I'm not with you and I'm not with you're Democrat, I'm not with you. If you're Republican, I'm not. And leaving the United States citizens out there in the middle and saying that you have a right to bear arms. And that Constitution of the United States of America was put in way back when there was no assault weapons. It was no weapons of these kinds. These weapons are designed to do one thing and one thing only, is to kill humans. And there's nobody in the public arena out here that deserves to have any automatic weapons. If I woke up Monday morning and said, you know what I want to do? I want to go out and buy an Uzi, AK, a Tech 9, a street sweeper, a grenade launcher, automatically that light should go on as a red light. It's something seriously wrong with me. You don't need no psychology to come in and say that person is sick, but also the person that's sicker than I am is the person that's selling these weapons. And I'm asking now that this sign here be moved on down the line, first to Washington, D.C. and throughout New York. And I know the mayor of New York is fighting his hard, and this has been a fight, throughout for him and a lot of mayors throughout this country. But when we as citizens of the United States of America stand idly while 30-some thousand Americans being slaughtered each and every year, and we don't stand up and say the NRA have declared war on the citizen of the United States of America, and if there was a terrorist group of foreigners coming into the country killing 30-some thousand or being responsible for 30-some thousand, we would deal with that problem. This is the new 9/11. This is the new 9/11 in America. It's happening in Chicago as I speak right now. Someone is getting gunned down in America today, right now as we're speaking. And there's nothing being done about it. So I'm asking this council again to put in a law on the books in Bridgeport calling for a gun-free zone. So you can't come into the city of Bridgeport with this idea that you can carry a gun and get away with it. We got to get tough on these guns. It's a thing that we have been soft throughout this country, and we're getting softer. So my stand tonight is to say, whatever we need to do, by any means necessary, that we need to do it. We didn't learn when Dr. King got killed. We didn't learn when Malcolm got killed by guns. And we didn't learn when John F. Kennedy got killed by guns. Guns don't care about who you are or how big or how small. Guns is designed to kill. So why are we so surprised when these things happen? We got to stop this, America. We are at risk. Our kids are at risk. Our very future is at risk. So it's up to us as citizens of the United States of America to take a stand and to say enough is enough. How many folks got to die before we stop this madness? How many going to have to just, how many funerals do we have to go to before we say enough is enough? And we can do something about this. And what makes me real upset and real mad to see the governor of the state of Connecticut stands up and say, for the Bass Company, Pro Bass Company coming into Bridgeport, and all they do is sell guns. They sold a gun to the guy that killed the folks in the theater out there in Colorado. But to have the governor, the mayor, and Blumenthal stand up down here and say that, I'm finishing, and to stand that and say that they are for, and the mayor is standing there and saying they're for the Bass Company coming in here selling guns, and the only thing they're selling is murders. They're responsible. They're going to be held responsible. But it's up to us as citizens to say this Bass Company cannot come into Bridgeport. And for us to sit here and say that this Bass Company is going to come in here and then
you pass your time.
I am my freedom of speech, Mayor. My freedom of speech. You're not throwing me out of here. You're not throwing me out. I'm closing. But you was the one that stood up there and said you wanted the Bass Company. So you in favor of those kids getting killed out there.
Rolling your time.
You in favor of it. You ain't have no problem with it. You have no problem with these kids' bodies piling up all over the United States of America. And when I stand here with my constitutional rights, and all you're willing to say is to give me 5 minutes to talk about something that can stop the killing and slaughtering of our kids. So I'm only entitled to 5 minutes, citizen of the United States. And remember, in closing, they say it's legal to sell a gun, but it was also legal to have slaves in America too. That was legal, and we got rid of that. We outlawed having slaves.
And cut it off today.